All right, former Trump attorney Jenna Ellis pleaded guilty today to one count of aiding and abetting false statements and writings, which is a felony. And she had actually, this is of course, whenever anyone pleads guilty, it's because it's a plea deal, right? So she's accepting a reduced charge. This was also, she was facing a more serious charge of anti-racketeering laws. So, so now it's Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis who have pleaded guilty to avoid jail time. She was sentenced to 5 years probation, a $5,000 fine, and 100 hours of community service, and was also ordered, of course, to write an apology letter to the people of Georgia, which, let's not get it twisted, we know why that is. They want to put their thumb on top of you and make sure that they embarrass you for ever going against them. But I want to play Jenna Ellis crying, breaking down in tears at this hearing. And here's what she had to say. Watch.
As an attorney who is also a Christian, I take my responsibilities as a lawyer very seriously, and I endeavor to be a person of sound moral and ethical character in all of my dealings. In the wake of the 2020 presidential election, I believed that challenging the results on behalf of President Trump should be pursued in a just and legal way. I endeavored to represent my client to the best of my ability. I relied on others, including lawyers with many more years of experience than I, to provide me with true and reliable information, especially since my role involved speaking to the media and to legislators in various states. What I did not do, but should have done, Your Honor, was to make sure that the facts the other lawyers alleged to be true were in fact true. In the frenetic pace of attempting to raise challenges to the election in several states, including Georgia, I failed to do my due diligence. I believe in and I value election integrity. If I knew then what I know now, I would have declined to represent Donald Trump in these post-election challenges. I look back on this whole experience with deep remorse. For those failures of mine, Your Honor, I have taken responsibility already before the Colorado bar who censured me, and I now take responsibility before this court and apologize to the people of Georgia. Thank you.
So Jenna was also ordered to testify truthfully in any trials related to the case, which obviously I think the conclusion is they're trying to strike deals with all of these people so that the evidence piles up against Donald Trump, and boom, there you go. You can finally throw him in prison, which is what you guys have been trying to do for a very, very long time now.
You remember we were here today, we talked about Sidney. I know Sidney personally, know Jenna personally. When Sidney Powell pled guilty as a very senior lawyer, as senior as Rudy Giuliani is in that situation, from a litigation standpoint, Sidney Powell is very senior. I said, this is not good. This is writing on the wall. No question. We said that day, Jenna's going to have to follow the path, and I wouldn't be surprised if we not a week from now see a Rudy Giuliani do the same thing. And anybody involved. And it's not a good trajectory for what is to come. They're building a case. They're getting it on the record. They're not just letting them, testify to whatever it is they're making them testify, but they're getting them to be key witnesses in what's coming. And so if you could separate a guy from his support system, which is really what predators do, you separate an individual from their support system, their network, their sustenance, and then you weaponize those against them under force, fraud, coercion, you force them. I'm telling you, buckle up. March, April, May, June. If he is the nominee in the primary.
Well, the thing too that I'm having trouble figuring out is, look, I believe wholeheartedly that Donald Trump is not he believed that this was taken from him. He believed all of these things. And I'm not saying that there wasn't a degree of that happening, because there was. But I think that it's important to make the distinction about the voting machines and about other methods of doing that. Now, their argument...
convoluted.
Right.
So convoluted.
Right.
Especially with Sydney and Dominion. And I mean, it was a free-for-all.
Right. But look, Donald Trump is great, but I can't imagine he's the one going in and doing this investigating himself and uncovering these things himself. That's not him. That's what he hires his people to do. Meanwhile, you do have Sidney Powell going on with Fox News saying we're going to release the Kraken. I mean, she was very specific on what they had, what they were alleging about Dominion, and what they were going to show to the world, that she never ended up doing so. And so at a certain point, you have to go, are we really to believe that Donald Trump was the mastermind behind some whole scheme to defraud like the state of Georgia and rob them of the election results? Like, I don't believe that for a second, because that wasn't his role in everything. So who here is the one who actually was amping everyone up? To Jenna's point, she was like, I believed what I was being told by other lawyers around me, and that's on me, because I should have done my due diligence and looked at it, and I didn't. But like, to her point, I would like to know who did that, because it sounds a whole lot like one of them is in this pile of people and they're all going to take deals and they're going to throw it on Donald Trump, when we all know good and well that he was, if someone was lying, he was also being lied to, because he wasn't a criminal mastermind who cooked up some scheme.
Well, here's this. It's such a pivotal point you're making. To a degree, some of them can deflect by taking a plea deal.
Right.
He's not going to get that option.
Exactly.
Who does he deflect to?
Well, and they're doing all of the plea deals first, so he will be the last one.
Not just plea deals. Hear me today. They will call Jenna as a key witness.
Yes.
They will call Sidney as a key witness. They'll call Rudy as a key witness. This is majorly problematic. And if you think some white knight called, Mitch McConnell or the new Speaker of the House or whoever is going to ride into Donald Trump's aid in that hour, there's no deflection.
Right.
He's not going to get to say, well, I trusted my lawyers. Right. Because on the other side of the courtroom is going to sit lawyers who's going to be called onto the bench as key witnesses against him. So you're deflecting to the people. Oh, how convenient, Mr. Trump.
Right.
This is not good. No. This is bad at every level. And it's how you would do it. If you played the handbook of Satan, this is how you would play it.
Yeah.
You do it. It's force. It's extortion. It's making people. Now, granted, Jenna stood there and said, hey, it's on me. I should have done more due diligence. And we can all put ourselves in someone's shoes of, hey, it's frantic and you make mistakes. It's just the stakes are just higher at that level. The mistakes, if there are mistakes, but I'm with you. Whose sole responsibility was it? And it's not one person ever.
Right.
To forensically go gather evidence, vet, verify, proof, and verify, and then show the American people. I always remember Julian Assange. When Assange told you, hey, I'm leaking some things, he leaked them.
Right. Right.
There they were.
Right.
Boom. Yeah, he said he had it. He had it.
Right. Yeah, someone was tasked with that responsibility.
Who's that?
And came forward with a result
who's
that
that
they
collective
then couldn't,
body?
Right, that they then couldn't prove. I would like to know who that is, because if that's a person making a plea deal, we should know that, because that person should not be able to make some sort of a plea deal so that they can flip on Donald Trump.
And we don't know who that is.
No. And I don't, and I am not convinced that we will ever know who that is, which of course was the left's intention, I'm sure, the whole time, because as we say so often on this program, they are always 10, 20 steps freaking ahead of our side.
And I want to speak to the base here, and this is really important, guys. The whole notion that Trump will fix it.
Right.
You listen, Moses himself went up that hill, came down, and God said, listen, look, they're worshiping a calf. No one man is going to walk into the Oval Office and just fix this. That's not reality. Stop thinking that way. That's not how life doesn't work. Number one, you can't do it without God. But this is bad. We need to see the writing on the wall. This is why we get so upset when we're abdicating our responsibility in the House of actually electing a champion for a change. Start rebuilding the wall, not the wall on the border, but the fortress to defend liberty and justice. If we get a shot to bring someone in who can actually be an ally for Donald Trump in the White House, such as a Jim Jordan, don't squander this opportunity.
Yeah.
Because they're dropping like flies.
Right.
Those who could stand with him, if that makes sense.
If you like that clip, there is plenty more where that came from. Click the link in the description below to subscribe to the News and Why It Matters YouTube channel to watch the full episode.